Check, check, check. Hey, this is the Dub Shack, and I'm logging in today to go a little bit over the skill tree. There's seems to be some, I don't know. Everybody has an opinion, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. And the fact of the matter is, even with this, as long as you know how to DPS, you're still going to do DPS. Whether you're going to do the maximum DPS, it depends on you. But this is kind of going along with my theory that skills are now grouped according to faction as opposed to career. But that's not entirely, it only tells like part of the story. What I do know is that Federation Tactical, especially, seem to benefit from a holistic science bend. So we're going to look at my skill tree. Now, this was not my first skill tree that I set up. Actually, first I went all tactical and went with the tactical focused frenzy. I was told it was pretty good. The truth of the matter is, it said, okay, I'll just read it. Mark the target foe and devote all available resources to taking them down. Okay, right there that sentence says, mark the foe. Mark the target foe. Mark one foe. So that means that you're attacking one person at one time, which means that this ability is for capital ships. So, a lot of people will assume that, or have been told that DPS is really more of a fire at will, where you're attacking multiple targets all at once. Focus Frenzy is not going to help you there. So, and a couple other things with the tactical tree itself, energy weapon training and projectile weapon training. This is the same that it was with the original, which you would, go ahead and invest all 6 in those. It's not a bad thing, but you don't necessarily need it. And, you don't necessarily need anything in the skill tree, because most people seem to forget the fact that every single thing in this game has a base value. And with the base value, you can still play. It's just, the skill tree adds a bonus. Okay, so whenever I start a skill tree, I usually start in the upper left-hand corner with, I'll go with like 1 hull restoration, 1 hull capacity, 1 shield restoration, 1 shield capacity, and then I'll either do like a tactical and then or an improved shield capacity, depending on if I want to invest in this or nothing in this. The reason for that is that to get to the lieutenant commander tree, you need to spend 5 points, and the next one is 15 or 25, and then I think it's like 5, 15, 25, 30. I don't remember. I'd have to actually do a tree to figure out. But anyway, my point being is, if you're a tactical focused person, and you're wanting to do a lot of DPS, then Frenzy's Assault, Focus Frenzy, is not going to help you so much. And by the way, there's another BOF, Bridge Officer ability, called, I even have it on here. I know it's in here. I probably unlocked the training for it. It's Focus Assault, isn't it? Probably wasting time here. And where is it? Wait, there it is. Yep. Focus Assault. 1, 2, 3. These allow you to mark 1 ship, typically a capital ship, and it is helpful, especially for like the breach events, when you get stuck in that cavern with that big old Voth ship and like nobody is doing DPS. So like everybody's spending like half an hour or an hour or whatever just trying to attack that ship. Sometimes it helps, you know, if you've got an extra slot to waste, because honestly, that's all it's good for is attacking one target. If you want to attack multiple targets, then these sort of abilities don't really help you much. Now, on the flip side, the engineering tree, if you go all the way to EPS corruption, a lot of people have said, well, that's a crap ability. Kind of, but kind of not. It's actually, this is parsable damage. Specifically, it's parsable plasma damage. So I have a suspicion that if you're doing like a Romulan character with that is built around plasma, which I'm going to do, and I'd really like to try this to see if I can. And I've heard that you can buff this EPS corruption. Then it does like 700 damage or something around there. So that could be a decent ability. Now, for those of you who say, well, ultimate abilities aren't worth anything, that's your opinion, and you're welcome to it. If you just want to, buff the abilities that are specific to the way you play your ship, that is perfectly fine. No judgment. But if you want to do a lot of DPS and pretty much guaranteed DPS, even if you suck at DPS, especially if you are a shitty pilot like me, you would invest in probability manipulation, which gives you for 30 seconds 50% crit chance, which is huge, especially if you manage to build an enormous amount of crit severity. Then I would recommend that. So anyways, things that I invest in, hull capacity, that's built into your ship, whatever ship you're flying. Hull restoration is a little bit better because if you're trying to like heal, then this gives you like bonus to that. And then shield restoration. The reason why this is great for Federation characters, especially Federation characters, always, or the ships always have the highest shield modifier of any ship. And just give you a quick idea, let's look at Science Star Cruiser, the Yorktown class. Okay. And look at, shield modifier right here, 1.15. Now the difference is not significant, but it goes towards the point that they have built Federation to have larger amounts of shields. Now you say, well, if they have larger amounts of shields, then I don't have to worry about investing in shields so much. That's true. That's probably a valid way of thinking it. But I offer this counter proposal. The stronger you make your shields, the less damage you're going to do to your hull, because it's all going to be absorbed by your shields. Where is that ship? I'm looking for the Klingon one. It's like the Gorkon class. Where is it? Where is it? Operations, Martok, tactical. Well, so I could even look at this one, and it's basically shield modifier 1.1 is 0. I believe the Gorkon is actually, but see, I could look at the tactical Fed, the Endeavor class, 1.15. So you can kind of see there, but the trade-off is 57,000 hull. So you actually have less hull. Klingons make for it by having more hull. Oh, there's the Gorkon. You still get the same point, 59,000 as opposed to 57. So these are not big differences, and they don't make a significant amount of difference. But and then especially in kind of like this area, this is kind of like a purchasing points to get you to this super ability, really. And you might say, well, that's, if you're spending points just to get a super ability, then you're wasting your points. Well, I don't think so, because it depends entirely upon what you're doing. But another thing I would argue is Federation plays such a wide variety of ships. And if you're the type of person who only plays one ship, I feel sorry for you. But because, for one thing, they have the best science ships. They have arguably the best escorts. They have maybe the best engineering ships. I don't know. I don't like engineering ships or cruisers or whatever. But I do like the Odyssey. It's pretty cool. Control expertise. This is for stuff like tractor beams. So I would invest, everything in this. As far as drain expertise, these two here do affect your plasmonic leech. This one, drain infection, does not. So I don't typically invest a lot in that. Shield hardness. I wouldn't have invested in this before because it seemed like a waste of points. Because if your shields are going to be sucked away by the Borg, then, who cares? But this actually, in fact, it impacts the shield impact dynamics, if you will, and it makes them more effective. So I would invest in this. Shield regeneration. This is actually a passive skill as opposed to shield restoration. This affects your healing abilities. This affects your shields regenerating when you're doing nothing. Which, if you use a Romulan impulse engine, who cares? There's no point in this. But invest a couple. I did to get to all three of these, and the extra ones, probability shell, hull and shield healing, also doubled. That's nice. Foes suffer a stacking damage resistance rating debuff when crit. Okay. I mean, that's like, and this is like not even, if you were science, you've got a bunch of abilities which debuff your target. And here, probability manipulation is not only doubling your crit chance, it's also debuffing your target. Debuffing probably multiple targets. If you're using like FA or CSV. Probability window just increases the amount of time. But going back to this, exotic particle generator. I used to just put 3 points in this, which would be the equivalent to 9. 3 is equivalent to 9 from the old. But I put it at least 1 point there because I do a lot of exotic particle. Actually has more to do with many things than people might expect. And then long range targeting sensors, everybody should be investing in this. I don't care who you are, what are you doing, what you're using. There used to be a problem where there was an energy fall off from about 6 to 7 kilometers out to 10 kilometers, where the amount of damage you were putting out started dropping. It didn't drop to 0, but it was not fun. We didn't like that. So they put in long-range targeting sensors. This increases it so that when you start getting out to 10 kilometers, your damage output is actually increased. It's not 100% at 10 kilometers, but it's very close to 10. Or it's very close to 100%. So... And then when you get to Admiral, I sort of got everything in Admiral it's like eating too much cake. I mean, you could invest in whatever the hell you want, and it just doesn't, why would you invest in scientific readiness if, your one of your main space trays is all hands on deck? And also, your stations, one of your characters I don't know how to pronounce this guy, but he is a Krenim, or she is a Krenim. Wow, that is a guy's name. Thusius? Anyways. Oh, you can look at that really quick. This is what Krenim comes with. Flux, reduced non-weapon cooldown. 20% recharge speed for all non-weapon abilities. So probably like healing, things like that. But the big one, temporal applied science. Plus 10% power recharge speed for science bridge officer abilities. Now, this is not cooldown reduction. Not technically. What this is speeding up the clock for the cooldown timer. So it just basically makes it faster, and its net effect makes it look like cooldown reduction. I want to be here and then click on skills. That's what I want to do. So anyways, yeah, that's why I invest in science. Oh, and then shield mastery. This is like a complete, it's like if you get a critical hit, you suffer completely, damage is negated to 0. So this to me is more effective than this trait you get with the Guardian Cruiser, Desperate Repairs. You have to actually wait for 3 critical hits before you get this huge bonus. So that's why I never use it. It's just kind of stupid to me. So those are like that. I guess mainly getting science is for getting probability manipulator, but that also explains why I would invest in those. The things I would like in other categories, I would try to mandatorily invest in electroplasma flow system. If you didn't know this from the last skill tree, it's still the same mechanic in here. EPS flow is power transfer rate. Power transfer rate, EPS equals DPS. So always invest in that. Impulse expertise, always invest in that as much as possible, because this affects your speed, your turn rate, and it used to affect your ability to transfer power from. Apparently, Starfleet Dental is in ESD, having some sort of party, but surprise for them, my game audio is set on secondary, so hopefully you're not getting too much of that, but I apologize. Anyways, I always invest this amount of points in this right here. And then hull plating, you don't necessarily have to invest in that, but I do because I like having a little bit of hull hardening. It's like you have shield hardening and then you have hull plating or hull hardening. You could do all 3 if you wanted. And, in fact, I probably invested more in tactical than I actually wanted because I couldn't reach this. So these points could have gone in here. I think it's just 2 points is all it was. And then I'd be able to train attack pattern beta 3, which I would never use. So so things on tactical that I would invest in, like targeting expertise, defensive maneuvering. These are things I might put like 1 point in, but you can get these things from consoles, from weapons themselves. My favorite thing to do when I get on the exchange, this is a little trick. When I do not have the money to get, let's say I want to do a Doom build with disruptor beam arrays, and I want them all to have pen. So I go disruptor, let's see, disruptor beam array. And then I'm going to search. Oh, another thing I learned: always sort ascending price per unit. It took me 2 years to figure that out. That's how you find cheap things. Set this to epic or to ultra rare at the very least. Search. Now look at that. Look at these. Damage times 3. ACC damage times 3. For 350,000 EC. Come on. Now, I know ACC is not like the greatest trait in the world, but crit D times 3 or damage times 3, that's hot. And it's ultra rare and set to Mark 7 or Mark 6. No, it's 7 and 8 is what it is. So you would have to like completely upgrade these to whatever you're at. But when you're building new tunes, what I have found the cheapest way to build these arrays is to look for people's mistakes. And that's how they sell them at ultra rare or epic. You know, they'll take a good Mark II item, they'll upgrade it, and they'll get a really shitty modifier. And you can find, look, ACC damage times 2 pen. That is exactly the type of thing I would want to look for. So, anyways, God, these people are being annoying in here. So that is a little trick that I like to do. If I'm doing like a new alt, who uses disruptors? Oh, we're looking at the skill tree. Okay, so they cover the engineering. What was this? Warp core potential. That's another good one because it gives you +3 power in all subsystems. These probably give you more, but that's 2 points as opposed to 1. Things in tactical that I definitely want to invest in. This here is kind of like, I'm kind of wondering why I did that, but it's the skill tree system is not entirely perfect. Weapon amplification and weapon specialization. These directly have to do with your critical chance and critical severity, which you want to increase no matter what. It's just a good idea. I would have the full 6 points in this area if I could, for that reason. And then these are like, I mean, they don't hurt if you're using like all pen traits, but I'm actually not. Like on my Defiant, we take a look. I'm using the quad cannons because, well, they do lots of DPS, and also if I want to run them with a cloaking device, I can do that. But normally I would do like something like this where it's either crit D damage times 2 pen, or damage times 3 pen, or crit D times 3 times pen, or crit D times 3 pen. The difference between those, like crit D 3 pen would probably be better on a non-tactical person, and then damage times 3 would perform better on a tactical. That's from what I learned. And then, you know, I'm running Quantum Phase, the Quantum Phase set. If I wasn't running Quantum Phase, I would be running the Delta set with the Thoron dual heavy cannons and the neutronic torpedo, just because the two together would give extra cooldown time to the neutronic. And then if I really wanted to, I'd put the bioneural, whatever the bioneural gel pack, and then that would give me the ISO cannon, which the ISO cannon is awesome, 100% shield penetration and all that. You know, and I've also found that instead of putting a exotic particle generator with EPS, which is a really good console, putting 3 plasma generating weapon signature nullifiers and Drain X this, what all this stuff does is buffs the plasmonic leech, so I'm always got tons of power and lots of plasma explosion. And a quirky thing I did is, I went all phaser except for one torpedo because why not? I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, I like to invest a little bit in hull penetration, improve shield weakness, other things that you could like coordinated protocols. This is entirely built around if you run a carrier, and I don't do carriers, and a lot of skills in this skill tree, like this one here. Actually, I think all of these have something to do. Well, no, that one doesn't. This one does. Hanger weaponry and wait. Hanger weaponry. What's that one? Oh, sector speed travel. Hanger health. Okay, so hanger health. So basically, if you're the type of person who does just carriers, then obviously that's something you want. But you're gonna have to spend the points for that. That might be a legitimate thing. You might go all tactical for a carrier. Of course, I have no way of trying that because, I mean, even though I have carriers, I absolutely hate them. So, that is why, for a Federation tactical officer, I would do all science. Now, perhaps I shall do another video which shows the actual performance, just to split them up, just so we're not spending like an hour and a half on that. Okay, so see you in a moment.